Among the 104 shooters since 1996 with at least 100 technical attempts to their name. So this is a special group of people who have shot at least 100 technical shots. James is the worst. LeBron James, the GOAT for some people, ranks the absolute worst of 104 people chosen to take important clutch technical shots, converting just 67% of his 248 tries. And yet, he still takes them. The scoring title argument, somehow claiming that LeBron James is the GOAT, has come up recently due to unfortunate circumstances, but it does give me an excuse to approach this topic, and I'm going to approach it piecemeal because there are a lot of things wrong with the way that LeBron James accumulated his points. Now, we could talk about things that are a little bit abstract. We could talk about the moving the goalposts and recency bias, for example. The fact that they say that we've never seen anything like this and have been going on about LeBron's age for the last 5 years, even though he's only 39 now. And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar retired at age 42. Nobody talked about that scoring title, certainly not LeBron fans, until it was presented to LeBron fans by people like Nick Wright and Shannon Sharp as something to talk about. And they're like, oh, good, we have a new excuse to live out our delusional fantasies. I mean, these LeBron fans are the people that are saying things like, Kareem who? Kareem? Who's Kareem? There are the circumstances under which those points were achieved, such as, let's again use Kareem as an example. Kareem was winning titles. Kareem was going deep into the playoffs while accumulating these points. Kareem was doing what his team needed to be done while he originally was holding that scoring title. LeBron James, case in point, the night that he surpassed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, lost to a team that they shouldn't have lost to. There's LeBron's shooting range. The fact that if you look at his shot chart over the years, you would think that he was a center, not a power forward or a sometimes self-declared point guard. Sorry, I meant to say small forward. Whatever, he plays all 5 positions, right? There's his teammates, his long list of all-stars that have helped spread the floor so that people can't concentrate on stopping him. There's the emptying of the lane and the disappearance of what we used to know of as defense, allowing somebody who can only score next to the rim to take shots next to the rim. There's the ignoring of obvious offensive fouls and obvious travels in order for him to not only get 2 points he should instead have been accumulating even more turnovers, but even in some cases getting and ones. Which brings us to what I'm going to focus on today, free throws, because my God, the number of undeserved free throws this guy has shot. Even though his free throw shooting percentage is bad, he's still taken enough to where it's significantly helped his career. But I'm going to look at a specific part of that, just the technical free throws. Even LeBron fans, I would hope, won't deny that LeBron James is not a particularly good free throw shooter. And yet, who have we seen taking the shots for the team whenever there's a penalty? This became so egregious that Kyrie Irving, in recent history, during free throws, said out loud, "This is your best free throw shooter?" Because it is supposed to be your best free throw shooter. And now we come to the real meat of this episode. And this is an article by none other than Tom Haberstroh. The title is LeBron James has stopped taking technical free throws. Finally. The subtitle is LeBron James appears to have given up his career-long insistence to take tech free throws over his better shooting teammates. I uncovered the data, and it is not pretty. Okay, people. There's a lot of things wrong already. And why did LeBron James finally surrender something that he never should have had? Well, he had finally passed Kareem. Kind of forces you to think, oh, well, the reason he was taking all of those was his pursuit of the scoring title, which again means that LeBron James puts himself and accolades ahead of winning, ahead of his teammates. Somebody with LeBron James's free throw shooting history and percentage should not be taking those shots. And it's weird enough that he is selfish enough to be insisting on taking those shots, but it's also weird that he's calling the shots in those cases. What's going on with the impotent coaches who aren't allowed to say, no, our best free throw shooter is going to take the technical? It is a weird basketball world that we find ourselves in, with the league's desperate attempt to pretend that somebody who sucks is the greatest ever. Before I read the article, let me just say I remember this. During these dark years for the Lakers, for true Laker fans, thinking multiple times, I'm like, why is LeBron James walking up to the free throw line? That does not make any sense. Do the teammates, does the coach, does the GM, none of them understand what his free throw shooting percentage is? And then I thought of the excuse-making world of LeBron fans and what they would say, which would be like, well, I bet you Michael did it too. So I went and I looked, and nope, sure enough, he didn't. And apparently LeBron fans want to claim that Michael Jordan was a bad free throw shooter. Actually, he was a career 83.5% free throw shooter. The league average for the 80s was 75.8, and for the 90s, 74.6. Steph Curry, by comparison, for modern times, is 91%. Well above average. Not average in terms of ever. During the time that he played, he was better than most. And yet, he still did not insist on being the free throw shooter for technicals and bonus shots for his team. Michael was more interested in winning than building accolades for himself, but his interest in winning led to those accolades. And it also led to a history of us being able to go back and look at his style of play and being able to find inspiration in what is now a reality of uninspirational players. LeBron is 73%. Okay, let me read the article. In what seems to be, okay, let me read the article, and you should probably know this was January 31st, 2024. Quote, in what seems to be the surest sign yet that LeBron James is ready to take a back seat. We keep hearing that every year. This has also turned out to not be true, but excuse the interruption. The 39-year-old appears, what do you know, he was 39 back then. He's still 39, yet everyone's calling him 40. The 39-year-old appears to have quietly relinquished a time-honored tradition on LeBron-led teams. That being LeBron James taking the technical free throw. You probably didn't think twice about it on Saturday. In the game against Golden State Warriors, the Lakers were awarded a technical free throw after the Warriors were called for a defensive 3-second violation. Historically, this has been LeBron's domain. By rule, in that situation, the Lakers can choose any player on the floor to step up to the line and take the freebie. On the floor for the Lakers in that moment, notice the previous sentence. The rules says any player on the floor. So any of you guys claiming that it needed to be a certain person, no. You had free choice. Anyone who's on the floor at the time. You can't pull your best free throw shooter off the bench. But if they're on the floor, you can pick your best free throw shooter if you choose to. On the floor for the Lakers in that moment, Taurean Prince, 81.4%. D'Angelo Russell, 78.8%. Rui Hachimura, 77%. James, 73.5%. I put out so many videos the last couple of years that LeBron James had the worst shooting percentage from the field. I didn't even think about doing one on his free throws compared to the rest of the teammates, because what he does on the field seems like it hurts the team even more. But man, maybe I should have focused on the free throws. Anyway, let me finish my broken up rambling sentence. LeBron James has consistently been just about the worst shooter percentage wise for the team on a nightly basis. And apparently, in addition to that, he's been the worst free throw shooter for the team. And yet, that has not stopped him from taking free throws in situations in which the team can choose a better free throw shooter. How does that spell a priority for winning? That sounds very much like putting an individual over the team. Not just over the team, but over the very concept of winning. Anyway, the author is calling out this moment because he saw something strange happen. When the referee motioned the call, James took a couple of steps in the direction of the free throw line, but then backpedaled away. To his right, D'Angelo Russell made his move. Though it was Prince, not Russell, who boasted the group's superior free throw numbers in his career. The job went to Russell. LeBron looked on. Russell drained the free throw. Continuing reading the article, quote, I've covered LeBron's career-long vendetta with the free throw line. In 2017, I wrote an ESPN The Magazine feature about his struggles at the charity stripe and how his confidence had shaken to the point where he shuffled through 18 different variations of his free throw routine in one season. What? His routine wasn't routine at all. Good line. The technical free throw is where LeBron's insecurities take center stage. Wow, Haberstroh, I didn't know you were so bold. In that story, I focused... Sorry, I keep hitting the microphone. In that story, I focused on a moment in Charlotte on December 31st, 2016, when James took a technical free throw and missed it, much to his frustration and the crowd's delight. He didn't take another one that season. Wow. Quote, I said he had given up, but I was wrong. Yeah, well, he didn't have the scoring title yet. The rest of this is paid content. Well, let's see what the ESPN feature says. See if that's a paywall. 15 Feet of Trouble is the title. How many ways can you shoot a free throw? If you're LeBron James, it's 18. The results? The worst free throw shooting season of his career. Jeez. Again, it's, as mentioned before, it's by Tom Haberstroh. But my goodness, things have changed. Tom Haberstroh has since been hired by Clutch Sports to do the opposite of these sorts of articles. But I digress. So I glanced at the ESPN article, and it's fairly brutal. In fact, I'm going to have to use a line from it as the opening for the entire video. I'm going to go back and re-edit that. Man, but before I get too far, I've got to focus on the fact that Haberstroh pointed out that the free throw line showcases people's insecurities because you're alone. LeBron James hates to be alone, as demonstrated by his unwillingness to be in the dunk contest. His unwillingness to ever be the guy who says, it was my fault, I need to be better. A guy who spends a significant portion of his already existing fortune while he's still playing, getting the media to push revisionist history to explain away his failures. That's an insecure person. And we have these excuses for big players not doing well at the free throw line. Well, not all of them were bad at the free throw line. And I don't want to hear this crap because I shoot great at a short hoop. A 9 foot iron rim, 3 foot Nerf hoop. Big-handed players like Michael Jordan can shoot free throws. I don't want to hear the excuses. It's a mental failure when you're at the free throw line and can't connect. Forgive me. Back to this interesting article, which points out that LeBron James is actually worse at free throws when it's a technical free throw than just regular free throws, which makes it even more suspicious that he insists on shooting the technical free throws. Listen to this. Among the 104 shooters since 1996 with at least 100 technical attempts to their name. So this is a special group of people who have shot at least 100 technical shots. James is the worst. LeBron James, the GOAT for some people, ranks the absolute worst of 104 people chosen to take important clutch technical shots, converting just 67% of his 248 tries. And yet, he still takes them. Oh, I gotta read this little example provided. Wow. Okay, let me read the article. It's December 31st in Charlotte with the Cavs up 114-104. Well, that explains why LeBron's comfortable enough to even attempt. He always likes those low-pressure situations. All right, I'm sorry for interrupting. James is walking toward the charity stripe to shoot the technical. Based on pure math, this is a bad call. The four-time MVP is in the middle of the worst free throw shooting season of his career, converting just 67.9%. There are better options available to the Cavs, like, for example, four-time All-Star Kevin Love, an 82% free throw shooter for his career. 82% next to 67.9%, and they allow LeBron to do it. This is alpha dog territory, and James has flexed his superstar status in moments like this before. You mean his selfish status, his I come before everything status. Consider the 2010-2011 Heat, the article says, which many consider the most alpha dog team ever. That might be fair. Well, except that LeBron was a fake alpha. That season, James, a career 74% free throw shooter at the time, shot 15 tees, while Dwayne Wade, a 77% shooter, took 1, and Chris Bosh, an 80% shooter, took 0. James made only 10 of the 15. Let me read again. James was a 74% free throw shooter. Wade was 77, Bosh was 80. And yet they all had to bow out to allow LeBron James his opportunities, just like they also gave up their normal style of play to try and accommodate LeBron James. It's an entire career of people having to accommodate an inferior person for the sake of the lie that he's superior. Anyway, Hornets fans should be delighted to see James at the line. When he shoots technical free throws, his accuracy gets markedly worse. And this is what I said earlier. He is the worst. He is the worst ever in the club of people who have shot at least 100 technicals. And the only reason LeBron James has shot 100 technicals is because he was allowed to, not because it was the best choice for the team. That's crazy. So despite the massive percentage differential, Kevin Love does what so many of James's teammates have done before. He steps aside and lets James take a crack at it. Well, Haberstroh was a different person writing this, but it sure does sound like the entire career of LeBron James. Here, handicapped child, let me help you out. Let me do whatever it takes in order for you to have the feeling that you're accomplished. The referee passes LeBron the ball, and he begins his elaborate routine. He places the ball on his left hip and blows into his right fist, as if to reignite a dimming ember. Well, now he does that 45 times a game, not just at the free throw line. If the ball's not in his hands, he's pretty much blowing into them. Then he lines up his toes on the line, dribbles 3 times, spins the ball in his left hand, steps backward with his left foot, rocks back, rocks forward, plants his left foot back on the line, bends his knees, he looks up at the rim, he shoots. The shot falls short, bouncing off the front rim with a thud, the ball popping right in front of James. He slaps it away. What a child. He's always been a child, and he'll never not be a child. He slaps it away while the Charlotte crowd collectively cheers and laughs at him. Few things electrify a crowd like an opposing star's missed technical free throw. James seems oddly rattled at the line this night. Earlier, he had actually tripped in the middle of his free throw routine during the same unorthodox step back, planting his foot too early and knocking himself off balance. Oh, man. Okay, and then this article actually goes through all of his different 18 methods of shooting the free throw that he tried in one season alone. To me, that just lets you know that it's mental. You know, you create a routine that puts your mind into some comfort zone. And we've seen other players use this or attempt to use it. Some use it successfully and some don't. What worked for me when I was practicing free throws many, many years ago, I said, if you're not going to make it, don't bother shooting it. Because a lot of times I wasn't 100% there mentally. It was 100% about just mentally doing it. It's like, you know how to make a free throw. Don't put up some BS. Don't put up a good attempt at a free throw. Don't even bother shooting it. Because I wasn't letting myself leave at the time. I wouldn't let myself leave the court unless I made X number in a row. And that's kind of a good routine, if I can provide advice to anybody. If you want to get home, if you're getting hungry or whatever, but you're not going to let yourself go home unless you've made 20 in a row or 10 in a row or whatever your personal threshold needs to be, and you mess up on number 9 out of 10 or 19 out of 20, why exactly did you miss that last one? Something went wrong in your brain. Something went wrong in your brain. It's not because your body didn't know how to shoot a free throw on number 20 out of 20. Right? Guys, that's 24 minutes of me talking about free throws, of me just talking about technical free throws. So I think that's enough for one episode about LeBron James's unfair and inflated and selfish attempt to increase his point total. Let me know what you thought. Was this enlightening?